Look, these recent few years have been eventful, filled with euphoria, but it came with many life-destroying losses. The most notable PvE plays that created generational wealth was probably Hype, Asta, and Trump in no specific order. However, these same coins also led to holders and top blasters getting completely destroyed from bag holding and risking size that they couldn't afford to lose. To top it off, we've had events like 1010 completely liquidating traders for 7 to even 8 figures. Like you saw with Bonkai, he lost over 30 million in a single day. Financials aside and trading aside, you have to lock in with your mental state of mind while also prioritizing your faith, your health, even during conditions where if you walked outside for one single minute, you could miss a generational opportunity. That's how fast on-chain moves now. But overall, throughout this past years, from my career trading, there's many lessons I've learned, and mainly 10 key things that have changed my life for the better. Lessons that I want to share to others, and inshallah, some people, especially you, will improve your life with this info.
Number one, have a reliable network of traders completely better than you. Look, the easiest way to have outperformed this cycle is simply be in a circle of people with the same mindset of making it. The exact same people that spend 16 hours a day locked into every single new on-chain coin, with their goal of finding and sleuthing the highest potential winners. Let's take a look at Asta. Finding it at 8 cents was just one tiny piece of the puzzle. Actually having confluence with better traders than you, who together with them you're able to create a thesis on how high the narrative can actually go and how much you should be risking in this trade and all the potential upside and downside catalysts. That was the best way to execute. There's countless examples of why having an FNF is the key to success, and I'd say the same shit applies to every single industry in the world, such as e-commerce, fitness, hospitality, real estate, whatever. You need to have people around you who are more experienced, richer than you, smarter than you, more passionate, and simply better than you. Surround yourself with people who you aspire to be like. You should never be the greatest in the room. Never. Always learn and always seek mentors. Number two, do not rely on anyone. Look, this may contradict with the last point I just made, but as much as you should strive to have a circle that's locked in, that's going to help you tail into trades and whatnot, you simply cannot risk your growth on someone else dragging you along. No one's going to come to save you, and no one's going to find a solution for your issues, and no one is going to give you anything for free. Everything in this world, besides a very, very tiny minority, is equivalent exchange. There's been countless scenarios of people who entrust their port into someone else that they thought was completely reliable, right? And they'll get drained, they'll get used. And this doesn't only apply to trading. In your daily life, trust is the biggest risk to yourself and your future. There's instances where lazy traders will just tail their friend in every trade, every pre-sale, not think for themselves. And it's the same as like if I had a cafe shop and I had co-owners and I'm just relying my success of the store being on how they run it, not myself, right? What I'm trying to say is you need to make your own mistakes. You need to learn from your own L's. You need to receive advice and help and guidance in one way, but you can also give it back to people, not expecting anything back, right? This isn't supposed to sound gloomy, but rather hopeful. And what I mean by that is, if you help someone hit a generational cook, such as like if you worked them up for Trump at 1 bill, got them to ape, and they made 7, 8 figures, majority of time you will receive gratitude in the form of one way or another. They could help you find another cook. They could assist you when you're down bad. They could give you advice on the next meta. They could introduce you to a new network, bring you to a FNF and whatnot. But what goes around can come around, right? That goes without saying. But that doesn't mean that you should rely on, giving someone your hand and getting something back. That's not always the case. And especially in crypto, you need to remind yourself that like you shouldn't have any expectations around people. You give to others, you hope for the best, but you don't ever rely on that. If you're relying your future success on someone else, you need to let that instantly go and realize that only you can save yourself.
3. Have patience and remove the noise. This not only applies in the field of trading, but for everything in your life. It is great to have a drive and a rush towards making it. And I've personally been like this throughout my entire crypto career ever since I was 16. Have patience for trades to play out, and don't let the opinions of others destroy your thesis and reason for taking a particular trade. Keep in mind that whatever happens is going to benefit you. Your wins will be from your thesis. Your losses will be a good loss from the way you executed rather than panic selling from someone else's opinion. You need to accept that if you say it's going to go up and you fail, you can learn from this rather than the reason you're selling or getting out of a trade is because of someone else. You're not going to learn anything from that. There is an Islamic term which is sabr, to endure hardship and maintain inner peace at difficult times and understand that this life is a test. Not everything is meant to be easy. Your career is supposed to be full of struggles, no matter what you're trying to endeavor in life. If you've been in the game for long enough, you've seen countless individuals run it up to generational wealth, to be zeroed out, not once or twice or maybe even over 3 times. Multiple liquidation events, multiple extractive events, which just happens in crypto as it's a double-edged sword, right? You either make a lot really fast or you lose a lot really fast. If you choose to not learn a lesson from every single loss that you take and you repeat the same mistakes, then it's on you. But ask yourself, why did you overextend that risk at that point in time? What made you rush to enter a trade? What else was actually going on in your life? Like, was there an external force that made you oversize to overcompensate for another loss or liability? Was there some emotional attachment to something? You need to study yourself and analyze yourself. Look, another trader's portfolio being an elevator up only to all-time high is unrealistic, and ultimately comparison is the thief of joy. There will always be outliers in every field, like GCR, right? You should aspire to be like GCR. You should aspire to be the best. And every drawdown you hit should be a lesson and time to reflect, especially when the noise is lowered in your chats, or especially when the noise is higher in your chats, right? At all times, you should be analyzing people. Let's take, for example, 10-10 or any war fight we've had over the past few years. Everyone is panicking over losses. Everyone is scared. Everyone doesn't know what to do. You should be the one that's busy understanding what happened and how you can use this in an advantageous way. You shouldn't have to go through 20 breakups to understand how to find a wife. You shouldn't have to get injured 30 times in the gym on a bench press to understand there's better exercises out there for you. The same way where if you got liquidated a couple times for the same reasons, you don't have an edge. Find something else. Filter out clutter from everything you hear, and you gotta analyze yourself. Journal. Have patience knowing that when things are euphoric, when things are amazing, it's gonna die down. But when things are at zero and it's full of doom and despair, it's gonna come back. Find opportunities rather than following the herd, and take your time.
Number 4, take care of your family and partner. This is one of the only things in life that you will never ever regret. You can make irrational purchases all throughout your career that you could regret later on, right? That useless watch, that dumb holiday you went to, that fucking rental that you enjoyed. People spend money on so much dumb shit like 20,000 at the club, 10,000 on food, but anything for your family and partner you will never ever regret. All the success you find from crypto comes and goes, but remember where you came from. Too many times I see people spoil themselves with lavish luxuries. Fucking 20,000 spent at the clubs, which at the end of the day is an extremely short-term dopamine hit. And as much as no one wants to admit it, they're out to prove a point to people that don't give a single fuck about you. The cultural flex everyone experiences at one point, and look, I'm guilty of it as well. It's natural to have pride in winning, but easy comes and easy goes. Stay humble at the bottom and at the top. Your parents and loved ones will stick to you throughout everything. Number 5, Healthmax and invest into convenience. The generic advice would be hit the gym, bro, eat healthy, whatever. Very basic things to do that everyone understands, chicken and rice, weightlifting, blah, blah, blah. Realistically speaking, it's easier said than done. But the magic of having funds is that you can hire a private chef to do it. You can order organic food. The return on investment for healthy cooked meals that you actually look forward to tastes is good, and it stops you from eating junk food that will kill you, right? It saves you an insane amount of time. Staying sharp is a necessity. Feeling good and not feeling like shit all the time is a necessity. Think about it like this. A home gym setup itself could cost you literally 5 ETH or 100 SOL. And it has an infinite upside to keep you fit and motivated, and that will increase your mood 24/7, right? No one wants to be fat, sluggish, ugly. No one's trying to be subhuman out here. But while you're blessed with wealth from trading, you can avoid everything else that other people are forced to do. Like if you work a 9 to 5, right, and you're hungry at the workplace, you got no choice but to eat the nearest McDonald's. But if you're at home trading, traveling the world, you got freedom to pick and choose Invest into healthy options. And if you're at home and most people they have to go to a gym, most people go to train publicly, most people go to do this and this. If someone wants to go for a walk, they might have to go outside. You can get the best equipment. You can get under the desk treadmills. You got unlimited options here, right? And when it comes to food, you got a private chef. You got no excuse to not have the best quality meals. Being blessed with wealth from trading but avoiding high quality meals and self-care while spending it on materialistic obsessions makes zero sense. If you truly want to reset from intense screen time, a gym session with your homies, right? Going for a run with your homies, that goes far beyond a night out. Even having a high quality Wagyu steak cooked to perfection will put you in a good mood for the rest of the day. Trust in yourself. Trust in health maxing yourself and invest into convenient things. Number 6, be yourself. Completely trust your own instinct and don't try to be someone you're not. Especially on CT, it's easier than ever to imitate someone's personality because at the end of the day, it's utterly easy to LARP and fake success and knowledge. You can use AI to completely copy your favorite KOL's way of typing and you can tweet exactly like them. So why is it so important nowadays that you must act like yourself, right? That you gotta be yourself, you gotta have your own personality. In a world where anyone can laugh as a genius perp trader, pretend to be a stock quant, or pretend like they have knowledge about these AI utility coins or the next big macro news. Well, because genuine people meet genuine people and fake people meet fake people. Let's think about it like this, right? When you hoop at the park, right, shooting around, you can immediately tell if someone is good or not based on the jump shot, right? The same way you can tell if a trader is good or if he's LARPing based on the way he executes his trades. Networking is one of the core ways in crypto that you can ascend not only financially, but in every avenue of life. Having connections is the make or break to a higher level of yourself. You only grow your relationships with people when you are truly yourself, and people can read through that and sense that very easily. That's why you always hear stories of people who were caught LARPing and it completely destroys their reputations in a mere second. Years and years of progress can be slashed from a single fatal mistake, right? When you fake shit online. It is so insanely quick for word to spread around nowadays, especially with how fast crypto people are to hear things. There's many instances where a trader fakes their P&Ls, receives short-term glaze and clout. Meanwhile, the real traders can sense that it's a complete lie. And once the truth comes out, their career is essentially over. There's no amount of apologies or new P&Ls or whatever that can bring them back to seem legitimate. People hold on to grudges and hate in every single industry, but especially in crypto. If you are yourself, and by that I mean you say what you want, you have your own opinion when it comes to something that everyone opposes. And if you genuinely think a project is ass, you say it. And if you think someone is right or wrong, you speak on it. And if you don't believe in something that everyone else does, you say your part. A few examples right now would be, let's say ICM during the whole Believe ecosystem bullshit. That's what everyone wanted. It was so easy to hop on the bandwagon and bull post random coins, not understanding the fundamentals behind it. And it was super easy to side on with people who said this was the next big thing. It was only the small minority of people who pointed out the flaws within this system that are now looked at as quants because they didn't just jump in with the bandwagon. They were themselves. They didn't try to LARP anything. They just admittedly said, this shit is ass. While 20 people around them would say, fuck you, bro. Like, just stop fighting. You know what I mean? They were themselves, they voiced their opinions, and those opinions became highly valued. Now they're connecting with others on a true deeper level, growing a network in a real way. There's a major difference of a real friend compared to a fake one, and the value you receive from either can change or destroy your life. Being real leads you to finding those who are also real. Number 7, always be critically thinking and always be chronically online. A trader that spends 16 hours a day grinding with 5 figs is going to surpass a trader with 7 figs who is lazy and complacent. Look. You can make the argument that less time online and making bigger positions can swing your port, but that's purely cope. You cannot absorb as much information as the hustler. You cannot talk to the right people that he does because he's always online, and you can't keep up with the constantly changing market and constant news and all this macro bullshit that happens on a day-to-day basis if you don't dedicate yourself to the game. This is exactly how traders become washed and lose their edge. It's also very easy to handpick a small niche amount of traders that rarely spend time online but have made it from a few small positions that they take once every few months, right? There's of course outliers, like I said, who have high IQ, that think better, that make better judgments. But the core point is to be always thinking about the next move. The core point is to always be online, trying to catch what's actually happening, trying to like understand this market on a deeper level. Let's say like you and I both the same hour, right? And you're just watching TikTok while the other person, right, who's not watching TikTok is scrolling through Discord chats, scrolling through Twitter, looking through their meme scope, trying to find like what's running, trying to look at every single new pair, analyzing all the majors. He's going to absorb more info than the other guy, right? It can obviously add stress to your life and put you in a state of panic. But that brings me back to my point. You're either made for it or you're not. Pick two shooters of the game. One who is constantly in a state of absorbing information, processing it and making decisions to execute upon, and the other one who waits for others to make decisions and tells them.
Now, here's the thing. I've seen both tail ends of these people succeed, especially in bull markets, where
All you really need to do is buy coins that everyone says is good. Like their friend bought something, you buy it. Their group likes a coin, like Punch, you buy it. You can be really online and not think for yourself, and you can still make it. But at the tail end of the bull market and during rougher conditions, it really reveals what kind of person you are. And when you're complacent and not locked in, you fall behind, you lose 90% of your port, you can't recover. And there is no such thing as burnout for the other person because he realizes that he doesn't have the luxury and pleasure to relax while also trying to become the best in this industry, right? To become the greatest human possible in this industry while also chasing a passion, you need to learn to fall in love with the process. You need to genuinely enjoy trading. From NFTs to Forex to meme coins, whatever it is, the process sucks. The losses suck. The hours spent grinding, everything, it all just is ass, right? But the process eventually becomes a routine, a habit, and then becomes passion. You will naturally gravitate towards the love of the game and willingly choose to be online, even when the ROI seems like it's not there logically speaking. This doesn't only apply to trading, right? Because if you want to be the best at boxing, you have to be always training. You need to be always watching tapes. You need to be always be learning from your coach. You need to be taking hits. You need to be getting injured. You need to be throwing punches, right? You adapt more and more of the hours you put in. Now, that being said, it comes a time when you realize your gains and you walk out the door. But this is not something you need to worry about yet. Now, this is off topic, but the world is going to zero. AI probably steals all the jobs that are out there, and every market is already overly manipulated. I've personally invested in farms, medical clinics, because these are the things that will progress no matter what. Each to their own, right? Like I said, off topic, but make sure to actually realize your crypto gains, trading gains, business gains, whatever industry you're doing to make money, realize your gains at one point and then off ramp into an IRO asset, right? As much as I preach what I just said, always be online, locked in, you also need to consider your future kids, right? How are you going to take care of them? Think long term. Number 8, have a strong relationship with your faith and your religion. Thank Allah every day for your situation and understand and accept that there will be tests in your life. Accept that everything is already pre-written and you're quota. Every loss is meant to be and every win is meant to be. There's no if only. Stop trying to look back in the past and change things. And along with this, don't get lost in the source. Remember the reason why you started. Stay humble. Understand that your money is not your money and that you have been blessed with wealth and you must use it righteously. I'm not a perfect person. I'm not a scholar. But my point is, you should have friends that are strong in their imam and their faith. Okay? Their values are going to reflect back on you. Don't neglect what actually matters in life. Look, I'm not someone that should be preaching these things because I'm not that good of a person. But the reason I want to really make you guys understand this, if you truly want to learn something based on the many years of being in crypto, is that one day you end up in the grave, right? We're all going to die. We're all going to perish. Destroy your ego, remove your pride, and acknowledge that everything that you achieve in this dunya is not technically yours. It's hard to put into words, but essentially, let's say, quote unquote, you made 10K. You treat it as a blessing. It can be taken away at an instant and it can be also given at an instant. And this goes for everything in life. Nice, you just hit a 400-pound bench press. Wow, that strength is a blessing that you have been given. You can grow old, sick, and weak very soon or not. You treat the wins in your life as not your own and you thank God for it. And this mindset shift will change your life once you truly embrace it. And I'm not saying it's easy, right? Letting go of your pride and this whole like, I did it type of vibe within trading, that's very hard, right? Taking credit for everything that happens in your life and changing that to, wow, I've been blessed by this. That's hard. It's like the same as if someone rizzed up a girl and, you know, they married, right? They take credit for like them being able to achieve this instead of, wow, alhamdulillah, I've been blessed with this marriage. There's a big difference. And the reason why this is essential for trading is because once you like hit a trade and you see it as, I did that shit, like I'm him, instead of, wow, I've been blessed to be here in this exact very second, see this trade, have the right people around me and be able to execute this way, that will completely change your vision. Because when you take losses, you're not going to view it as, oh my God, I'm such a retard. You're going to see it as a lesson, a learning curve. It had to happen. It wasn't written for you, etc. It's not for everyone, this take, but it's something that I believe can change your life for the better. Number 9, have a healthy avenue to release stress that is consistent and improves you. We all have peak cortisol. Let's not deny it. But balancing family, trading, relationships, faith, health, sports, whatever, there's too many things to do. It's cliche to say this now, but you can do the basic shit like take care of yourself, blah, 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 have a good partner, whatever. It's not realistic for people to do day to day. And ideally, you do it. But there is also the natural human temptation to find other avenues to relieve stress after a long day of work, right? What I mean by this is there's the temptation to party, to hit the club, to take bad things, whatever it is. You need to avoid these things at all costs and don't cope with yourself that you need to be doing these things to take a break. The downside of the bad habits isn't just you doing it in the moment, but it's the domino effect. It's the compounding of this lasting and lingering onto you for weeks and months and even years, right? Because these things add up, right? I'm not trying to say this on a righteous level of sins and whatnot. I'm talking about just your mental state of mind, even your physical health, right? Have avenues that don't ruin you. And saying these things is really easy, but it's not realistic because no one's perfect. We all have our bad things that we go towards. But succeeding in the financial realm is only one small piece of the puzzle. You always see rich guys succeed in the financial realm, get 8, even 9 figures, but become just disgusting human beings because they don't know what to do with the money, right? While you're achieving this endeavor, you need to remove these horrific negative avenues within your life that makes you fall into a pit. You don't want to end up depressed, suicidal, lonely, faithless, but rich. That's the last thing you want. And you can trust me on that because I've seen it happen to a lot of people because they don't find avenues that are healthy to de-stress. Gaming, holidaying, like there's a lot of basic things you can do, but that's for you to decide. Now, last but not least, never compare yourself. Something I think about all the fucking time is the very concept of how comparisons is both the thief and the bringer of joy. Owari, what do you mean by that? How can it bring me joy? Look, if you've been in horrific situations, you naturally cope and compare yourself to people who have less than you, right? You don't realize it. It's not something bad I'm trying to say that you do. But when you conversate and you say something like, well, at least I'm not in this, whatever. Those who are going through divorce, bankruptcy, illnesses, etc. Like, let's say you're with your girl and she just did something that really pissed you off and you tell your friend about it. You say, well, at least I'm not like that guy. Let's say you just got liquidated. You say some shit like, well, at least I'm not like, you know what I mean? You will suddenly be grateful for where you're at in life when you compare yourself. But when you suddenly do really well, then you become sad because you compare yourself to someone doing better. And this is a natural cycle of toxic thinking and natural human behavior that will kill your entire self confidence. Every single person has abundance in something, whether that is peaceful marriage with loyalty, a family full of loving and companionship, a healthy body, financial freedom, excelling in their sports, and so on and so forth. It's completely healthy to see success elsewhere, to bring inspiration to your personal goals, knowing that anything is humanly possible. And within trading, every P&L that has ever been made is possible for yourself, but so are the liquidations and the losses that you don't think about when you compare yourself. The game of life is a battle of you versus you. You are beating the version of yourself from yesterday, as cliche and corny as that sounds. At the end of every year, I look back at what I improved. I went from being broke, depressed, to an euphoric version of myself during a bull market. Right, from debt to euphoria, and from unhealthy, disgusting habits to a better physique. On that note, journaling will completely change your life, as not only do you treat yourself as your own therapist and pattern recognize your flaws to fix on them, but you also reflect on yourself and see what has truly changed. This goes beyond trading in the nature of traders comparing their own success and loss to others, as the game is naturally PvP and it's a zero-sum game. This applies to all the areas of your life. That being said, don't cope and be complacent with being at your lowest and saying it doesn't matter because you don't care where others are at. No, don't be corny. Don't ignore the signs you receive. Just be simply grateful with the abundance of whatever you have because it can almost always be worse and it can almost always be better. It is you versus you. I'm extremely fucking happy with what I've been able to learn during these years of my life, and I hope to learn more and more and more. Shout out to Prosperity. This group I truly love, and it's really all I am. Prosperity is my entire life at this point. We're all students of the game, and it will stay like that forever. Thank you for watching.